zaKwaZulu Natal izimbali zaKwaZulu Natal ake ngibingelele dadewethu Phindile Makwakwa.
Thank you, my darling. Ukubala.
Thriving in abundance talk. All right. And of course, Phindile Makwakwa is the acting CEO of KwaZulu Natal Tourism. Okay, ake siqale kahle ke le ndaba siqale ngokuthi ke dadewethu uPhindile usukaphi?
Hey, okay, before I'm getting sugapi, because I suppose sugapi is ngazalelwapi, you know. Ngazalelwe King Edward, eThekwini, grew up in Laz. But I've got an interesting, beautiful story.
Yes.
So my dad was Mozambican, from Shiputu, in Mozambique.
Yes.
It's about 3 hours from Maputo.
All right.
And my mom is a Zulu woman.
Yes.
Mapteli.
Mapteli.
Wasedandi. Wasedandi. And so so I've got Shangan and Zulu blood in me.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
It's showing the beauty. There's absolutely no question about it. You're looking absolutely amazing in green.
Thank you. There's a story about this green.
All right, what's the story?
So this green is really a celebration of an amazing woman.
Okay.
You know, I know today we're talking about me, but I just thought, you know, I need to celebrate you. You know, I was going to wear something else, and then this morning I thought, let me wear green because, you know, we've had an interesting journey, you and me, and I won't go too much into that journey, except to say, I'm celebrating you.
Okay.
And this green, I know what it symbolizes for you. When you recently, they say it's the 5th floor. I just learned recently that it's called the 5th floor. I can't wait to get it. When you entered the 5th floor, and you asked us to wear green, of course, I couldn't join you. I had to battle COVID.
Okay.
And then, I know. And then we had the lunch for ladies, and we turned up in green. And we did not know that you actually, you know, wanted us to be in green. It just happened. Everyone just turned up in green. But for me, the green, and when we talked about it, and the fact that it really symbolizes rebirth, renewal, it really symbolizes you and your journey, and really just a moment to say Zodwa.
Yeah.
What I love about you
is
in your journey, in your green journey, what I really truly love about you is the fact that the things you do, a whole lot of people don't know about it. I mean, we hear in your talk show that is absolutely amazing, but it is not even a reflection of what you do. You know, for people, for communities, for leadership, the prayers for our nation, the prayers for us in leadership positions, the impact you have on our lives. I know you're feeling a bit uncomfortable, but I just thought, let me celebrate you because I think you're an amazing woman. And I'm grateful.
We're invited journalists.
Well, I'm speaking from the heart.
Completely turned the whole thing, Marcus, about me. All right, back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is, of course, Thriving in Abundance Talk. And Phindile Makwakwa, the acting CEO of KwaZulu Natal Tourism, is my guest, not the other way around. All right, so this beautiful lady has got the Zulu and Shangan blood. What a beautiful a combination. You know, all the time. So now I know what you grew up in Umlazi. Okay, tell us a little bit about that. Who grew up in the township, like I grew up in Guamash, ladies and gentlemen, and who grew up in the township. Tell us a little bit about that.
So yes, I was brought up by my aunt and uncle.
Okay.
And my uncle was a pastor, Mfundi Sutembe, an amazing man, really amazing. Just, you know, at a time really growing up in the 70s and rough 80s, he just protected us so much. You know, you know, he taught us the word of God. Of course, you know, I suppose I went through the phase of, we pray every day, all the time. We're in church all day long. So I went through phases of, hey, this is an overabundance of it. But
Which we need.
Which we need, but of course when you're a child, you know,
Yes.
you know, we went through phases. I mean, I suppose growing up, we didn't see the impact it would have in our lives as we went into, you know, our teenage years, into adulthood. But just memories of my childhood, you know, being brought up by this amazing men and women, you know, I just felt protected in a world that was so insecure.
Absolutely.
And just the leadership skills. I mean, he would make us watch TV when we wanted to watch, you know, TV dramas. He would want us to watch news rather.
Okay.
And we just used to think, oh my God, news. Now my kids always fight with me over news because I always want to watch news.
Because they need to be informed. They need to be informed.
Exactly.
Yeah, tell us about that patch when you went to is it Oxford? Yes, a boarding school. Yes, I'm a boarding school. Abantu abaningi there went to laba ama boarding school asema-Romaine. I have friends who went to those boarding school. Of course, I went to KwaDlangezo High School, so izinto zayithe ukuthi kancane.
Yes.
Kuba a little bit relaxed. So tell us about that period in your life.
So yes, got grade 8. I went to a girls-only boarding school, Sacred Heart in Oxford. A lot of people used to say Oxford. We didn't mind.
Of course, all right.
And it was just, you know, of course, coming into age and just really just, you know, when you're developing into a young woman, again, protected environment. So I've been really lucky to, you know, have a life where there was a lot of protection, you know, at a time. I mean, it always used to break my heart that growing up in Mlazi and my set of friends that we grew up with, and we had dreams and we wanted to do amazing things. And I left them to go to this boarding school that shaped me, protected me, helped me shape myself morally and sharpen my values. And going back home, I mean, we used to go back home 4 times a year. And going back home and finding those girls just lost. Being pregnant at teenage years, just choosing wrong and understanding that the environment never gave them the chance, you know? And unfortunately, I'm not sure if I can say confidently that today, you know, kids in those environments are necessarily experiencing it any better. And that's the sad part.
That's the sad part. Suppose when you think about the fact that, I mean, we've been free for 27 years, you know, as a country. But yeah, no, we're getting somewhere. There's a lot around the numbers at a spiritual level. And then what was your funda roads, eh?
Yes.
Was it? Okay.
So I went Echini, Grahamstown, Rhodes, studied journalism.
You've always wanted to be a journalist? Or did indaba kaBaba uTembe yokubukela indaba influence you one way or the other?
You know, I think I struggled a bit, you know, growing up to just try and find, you know, my career path.
All right.
And interestingly, it was a friend of mine, you know, Zama Ngubane.
Okay, fine, Zama.
Who actually just said, you know what? Yeah. These are the qualities, you know, your character is like this. This is where I started thinking about it. I was thinking social worker.
Oh.
I actually thought I would be a social worker.
Okay.
You know,
it would have worked.
It actually, I think
it would have worked.
You know, in my little
no, you are.
But she just triggered an interest and curiosity. Yeah. And I just tried and unpack that more. So I suppose I was on a journey of self-discovery, and my personality, the real me, came out much later because I was in a really conservative family. And,
I know.
You know, expression was not necessarily something
encouraged. These things we should change, because our kids nowadays they really they're very expressive and they know what they want, they know who you are. So it's you know, things have changed. And then you started working as a journalist.
As a journalist, I mean, I loved it. I didn't stay much. I loved it, but I suppose my idea of what I wanted to do with journalism and what it turned out to be, there was a little bit of conflict.
All right.
So I started off as a general reporter.
Okay.
And I just found those times I really came into an environment where racial balance, gender appreciation, were not very encouraged. And unfortunately with journalism, and I still find it today really, and we know the power of the media and how it shapes the public narrative and the danger with it, the beauty of it and the danger of it as well.
I hear you.
So when I was this journalist, young, hungry, wanting to do things, coming up with innovative ideas, just how much the value chain of the newsroom and what ultimately found itself on print, I just couldn't connect sometimes. I would have a story that goes a particular direction and it's delivered differently. And a headline that I can't even recognize myself.
Now you are talking, because we are seeing a lot of that these days. It's actually coming out in the open to say, okay, what is happening here?
And I moved on to be a political journalist.
Yes.
Moved on to actually be a political correspondent in Parliament in Cape Town. And that for me was my turning point where I thought, I can't do this.
All right.
Without getting into detail.
We can only just imagine
how much the narrative was changed in front of me. And I just was very, very uncomfortable. There's a particular story I was doing on former President Mbeki.
Yeah.
And the direction I took it and the direction it went, I just didn't connect.
Yeah.
And I think because honesty is so important to me, that's when I started looking elsewhere. That's when I started thinking, I'm shifting.
Yeah.
I'll still follow my passion of communications, marketing space eventually, but this is not it for me.
Okay, and then you jumped straight into government.
Yes.
A little bit about that.
So,
your first assignment in government. Because these things are, by the way, people need to understand this. You are called into these spaces. People mustn't just jump into these spaces, do the work and behave as if they are the thing. No, it's a calling. I need to say this today to all the people that are serving in government. It's not about you. It's about who has called you into that space. Be humble. Walk in humility.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay.
Absolutely. You actually triggered another thought about it, but we'll talk about it later as part of the lessons serving in government. So I joined Vali Musa, the then Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs. I was his spokesperson. That was about 2002. And it was 4 years, about almost 5 years, of course, he left government, and then Martinus van Schalkwyk came in. So I shifted from the ministry to the department where I was director of communication. Just absolutely wonderful years. And for me, I felt, really, for me, that was really, truly the turning point. So I found in journalism, I was just allowed to just try and figure my way. And I don't think I had mentorship in the space I was in. I just was trying to find exactly what's this purpose. I know what my passion is. I know what I want to do, but it just doesn't fit. And then when I went into that space, I had an amazing man, JJ Tabane, actually, who's now Dr. Tabane. He was my boss, and just an amazing man in terms of just, he mentored me so well, obviously because I needed to shift from being a journalist to being a government communicator. It was quite an adjustment, and there was it just really, they took me by the hand, and it was just an amazing team, and we worked with South African Tourism and St. Parks as our entities and other entities. And just a group of really amazing leaders, and for the first time I felt, really, this is the space I'm supposed to be in.
The
and I was
importance
celebrated,
of people in leadership positions. People who are in leadership positions, you need to get this, It must be very clear in your head why you are there, in your soul, in your spirit, so that ngelinye ilanga kube khona abantu abayokhuluma kanje bancome the kind of impact that you had in their lives. Okay. Now, and then subsequently you joined Tourism KZN now.
Yes.
Okay.
I joined Tourism KZN. That was 2005.
Yes.
As their GM for PR and communications at the time.
At the time,
Yes, and yes, again, Mila Matola was the CEO at the time. Just again, another amazing team. For me, of course, it was a natural progression. In fact, interestingly, when I left for Gauteng, so of course I was in Durban, moved to Cape Town, to Parliament, moved to Pretoria, worked between Pretoria and Cape Town, of course, administration and Parliament.
Yes.
So for me, I just never saw myself coming back to KZN, I must say. I just loved sporting. I loved the pace. I loved where my career was going. I just was going to be a Gauteng girl, raise my family there, retire there, you know. And shifts happened in my life. I didn't know at the time what was really pulling me. You know, I know this is not a spiritual check.
We are always guided.
But just something pulled me to grab this opportunity when it came to apply. Because one, I had a little child, and it was just me and my child, and I needed to be closer to my family. But what I thought was my need to be closer to my family turned out about 6 months after I relocated. My absolutely amazing sister passed away, and I was to be an aunt mother to her kids and be part of the family journey, to actually just be with them and be with family. And so I needed to come back. But then it didn't compromise my career either, because I absolutely loved that time at Tourism KZN, even though it was short because I shifted about 2 years later.
It's amazing how our paths are always led, and at the time we're not understanding why certain shifts, but the higher power is always in control and knows exactly why we are going through those kind of shifts. And of course, may our beautiful soul, sister Solus is tanned. Rest in peace. Okay. And then ufuna ke sithi kuyakuleza ikhathi zakho ke lapha e-ofisini lika Premier nge-2010. Hayi zayiduma ngempela ke lapha.
Zaziduma.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your time there and the biggest lessons I think that you learned, because it was something new to everyone, and you're basically central to the whole operation of KZN as a province with regards to this particular project. So I'll be interested to know what were the biggest takeouts and lessons for you, so that we can assist people that are still going to get such opportunities.
Absolutely. So for me, of course, I had this amazing opportunity to run the World Cup for the provincial government.
Yes.
And it was such, you know, if I look at my career, it has to be the highlight of my career so far.
Yeah.
And an amazing journey where I was taught so much in terms of just the importance of collaboration. I worked with national government, local government, private sector. I worked with various different personalities and dynamics that come with that. I was given an opportunity to lead and really, you know, start my leadership journey really proper. And key to those lessons for me was really just the importance of allowing people, you know, knowing that you can never do it alone, and allowing people to be part of the journey. I was given a position that I think powerful, and I use that word loosely, you know, powerful because sometimes people define power for you, what power is, you know, they just sometimes elevate you too much when you actually are serving a purpose, and you're not this powerful person that suddenly can determine a whole lot of things. But I'm using power in a sense that, you know, when you're in a leadership position, it isn't about you. Back to that conversation we're having, it isn't about you. It is about what it's meant to do, what that calling or that responsibility entrusted on you is meant to achieve. So the World Cup, at the heart of it, was about unity.
Yes.
Was about unity.
Yeah.
You know, there was a ball on the field.
Yeah.
And the dynamics and the federations and
yes.
a whole lot of
all
things.
the drama.
And the drama. And a whole lot of things. But the unity.
Yeah.
What the World Cup did for us, I'm always hungry for it to happen again.
Yeah.
Consistently for our society, because we live in a world with so many changes, so many you know, challenges, you know, not just COVID. I mean, before COVID, we were dealing with challenges, whether it's politics, whether it's being caught up in factional wars and a whole lot of things that happen in society. But if you can have a program that unites us as society, that makes us forget about the differences. Like, recognize them, but celebrate them in their diversity and what they bring to the table. And that, for me, the World Cup did. And so the lesson I take from it is that as you grow in your career, it is important to always remember, why do you wake up in the morning? Why are you doing it? What is the bigger impact? It can't be just, I need a salary, I need a particular lifestyle. It has to be, what does it fit? Where does it impact? And are you making that impact?
Yeah.
And you will go through phases where you doubt it,
Yeah.
or where you're too tired,
Yes.
and when you want to give up.
Yeah.
But just staying focused on on the work that needs to be done, and then surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Very important.
Because not everyone who comes to the table will actually want to do what needs to be done. Some will come.
I want you to say that again. Because someone is not going to get it, you know, so it needs to be repeated.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yes. And it is important that you harness the right energies while you deal with the other energies.
Yeah.
Decisively too.
Yeah.
Not harshly, but decisively. And not be afraid to recognize what you're dealing with. And don't blindly trust. Pull the energies that are for the cause that's meant to be achieved. And there will always be the other energies. Deal with them, manage them. You know, emotional intelligence is also knowing that you don't go around guns blazing. I mean, I used to at some point in my career, guns blazing.
You know, sometimes, I mean, this is it's a conversation for another day, you know, in terms of how females, for lack of a better word, suffer in certain, you know, leadership positions, because there are people who just don't believe that you deserve to be there, and they are not going to give you a chance. It doesn't matter how hard you push, how hard you try, how hard you perform, you show up intentionally and everything, but they're just like, Uba Nilon. And you cannot be guns blazing here, because you can feel it, you can see it.
It still happens to this day.
Shekoya.
It still happens to this day. And you know what? I struggled with it a bit. I really did struggle with it. And I think with just, you know, wisdom, growing older, learning more. And the one part that that I really have to touch on, especially for women, young women, getting into executive positions, whether it's public sector
or
private sector. Of course, I have more of an experience in the public sector, and I can speak more on it. We live in a society which still, and this is now more subtle, because government has done amazing work in terms of having the right policies to empower women. And really, I feel on a day-to-day basis that, you know, the recognition and the appreciation is there. Where it goes wrong, it's the subtle treatment. So I'll say something that is a bit out there, but it is true. Throughout my career in government, I have been subjected to a narrative that there's no way she's now moved to this level. So, mind you, I've had mostly male bosses. So when I had a female boss, I was like, oh, for a change, that narrative won't happen. Because she's female. So, she's COO. Who's the boss? What favors? She's acting CEO. What favors? And that lack of recognition that a woman can wake up, commit herself, dedicate, put in the work, multitask, do a whole lot of things. I mean, there are certain skills that women have that I'm not saying necessarily men don't have, but in an environment where you demanded to really multitask, we have an amazing ability.
We do.
I mean, in the family space, in the work environment,
everywhere.
all of that. But sometimes the narrative is brought down to those kinds of things. It's very tough. It can be demotivating. I mean, I went through phases where I was like, really? I went through phases where I actually changed the way I dressed to say, okay, so if I have my dresses up here, if I wear a particular color, if I don't show up in my femininity too much, perhaps I won't be defined that way.
And it shouldn't be like that.
It should
because
not be
you
like
have
that.
to show up authentically as who you are.
Absolutely.
Because that's who you are. You know, you touched on something that's a very, which I think we should touch on in terms of females leading females, you know, because there's always a narrative that as females we can't work together because we're sabotaging each other. Sometimes there is an element of jealousy. Let's not beat about the bush. It happens, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't happen with males. It's just that sometimes the narrative is that just females can't work together. What's your take on that?
I disagree, and I partly agree.
Partly.
So partly.
Yeah.
I just really, in my career journey, I have found that pulling together as women, really we have achieved amazing things in the workspace. And so I think that narrative sometimes it's pushed out there really just as a divisive, kind of approach, where there's already an expectation that as women, you will not like each other because women, you are petty, you are emotional beings. You know, there isn't a realization that in being emotional beings, at a leadership level, there's so much good in it. Yes, of course, emotions need to be controlled. Emotional intelligence is important, but leading with compassion, leading from the heart, leading with love, those are not things that are, oh, this is frivolous. These are real things. When you lead a nation, when you lead in a corporate space, those are the fundamentals that bring unity. And women have it. And when we pull naturally, and when we pull it together, of course, women need an environment that encourages it. So what is your environment? What are your policies that encourage women to thrive in an environment as women? You know, there's a question of why is there not enough of us in these leadership positions? But it's again those issues of saying that there's certain expectations of women, almost like for you to make it here, you must play with the guys. You must change yourself. And so if there is that soccer match at school for your son or daughter, for that matter, in the afternoon you need to pop up, oh, you're being a woman again, now you're just rushing for the kids and you're not committing to the work, you know? No one is saying, okay, maybe you're staying up until 11.
You know, or
catching
maybe
up on
you
work,
wake
waking
up at 3
4,
in the morning,
you know,
and then just keep going.
So the environment has to change and be friendly to the realities of female and male needs in a workspace. The home environment has to be kind to that as well.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's a value chain because if the home environment is, I want my wife to always cook my dinner every night because I won't take dinner from the domestic assistant. So I'm a woman leader. I must bring the dinner at 6 every night.
Johnny.
So it's a mind shift. It's a societal mind shift that is, and then the greater community that celebrates you without wanting to find a reason why your own journey has to be because you've compromised yourself. So you see where I'm going. So it's the corporate environment, it's the home front, it's society at large. You know, together, working together to propel women to the positions that are naturally ours, you know, as well, you know, as everyone else's, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, that's true. Okay, now at Tourism KZN, you know, COO, now you're an acting CEO. Tell us about your space where you are right now. What are the things? I know that the tourism industry obviously is under pressure, but you are here, you are doing what needs to be done. But I would like us maybe to just tell us the things that you feel at that level are critical for us women to be able to thrive at that level. This show is Woman Thrive.
Yes. Okay, maybe just to start by saying, of course, the industry has been hardest hit. It has been absolutely heart-wrenching to see businesses folding, to see people lose their jobs. That is the sad reality. And so it's been an incredibly tough period for South Africa, you know, KZN globally. And so, and for that reason, it came at a time also when the need to transform the industry just has been that much more. The need to bring women more into the industry and make them take their place has been more. So if I were to say women's role in tourism, looking at a tourism that's going through a recovery journey,
Yes.
and really just looking into a future that really no one knows what it's going to look like. But you get an indication of, okay, as things open up, right now we focus more domestically. We will, of course, move into playing more into the African space and into international in terms of bringing in the numbers.
Yeah.
What should women be grabbing as opportunities?
All right. Okay.
I truly feel that, community-based tourism,
Yes.
There's been a danger of just making it a term. Community-based tourism is important. What is community-based tourism?
Yeah.
And how should women
Maybe
be
just
playing?
educate us.
So community-based tourism,
Yeah.
basically the simple term is ensure that when tourism happens,
Yeah.
communities benefit from it. So having a game reserve and having an international market, let's say largely UK-based,
Yes.
European-based, let's say,
Yes.
being your source market for that game reserve.
Yes.
And then employing a few people in the community and then saying that's community tourism. It's not. So community-based tourism is us moving towards responsible tourism that is beneficial to the community as a whole.
Yeah.
So how does that happen?
Yeah.
Various ways.
Yeah.
And it's a value chain issue.
Yeah.
So who gives you your fresh produce?
Where do you source?
Where do you source? As that game reserve or hotel?
Yeah.
Where do you source?
Yeah.
Are you utilizing the co-ops in the area?
Yeah.
And how does agriculture come in? The locals now, the women who have to feed their families.
Yeah.
The tour operating or tour guide activities that have to happen.
Yeah.
Do you just source from your own internally? Is it just a family business where you don't spread it into the community? How do you help train and empower the local community? And so the list goes on in terms of the value chain of service provision.
Yes.
Local restaurants that need to be utilized, and activities. How much is the community involved?
Yeah.
And so that space, I must say, as South Africa, and of course leading at a government level from a policy point of view and ensuring implementation, because there's a role of government, there's a role of private sector.
That's true. That's
So
true.
private sector has to play its role in terms of opening up and being responsible with their tourism practices. So the owners of products now and experiences. But of course, then you allow for innovation in terms of new players coming in. So women can come in, not look so much at themselves always as the employee who has to come in and join an existing product.
Okay.
It's about finding opportunities to come in and play as a business owner.
All right.
So not being the periphery, come into the
right.
mainstream of tourism.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so eco-tourism, community-based tourism is the future.
Yeah.
An environmentally friendly tourism experience.
Yes.
With COVID, it's made us more aware as humans.
Yeah.
The need to connect more, to be kinder, to really just connect and be one with nature.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that the way then tourists will be moving around globally in the future, and see more of what had already started happening.
Yeah.
Of tourists who actually want to do it different, make a difference.
Yeah. You can't be coming to KwaZulu-Natal and not in a bad way, but be stuck in a city. You want to be able to experience the life of the authentic living of people who are of Zulu origin, because it's KwaZulu-Natal. So you're not going to get that if you are stuck in the city. Surely you have to go into the deep rural areas and experience that.
It's a supply and demand. So so the demand is being created.
Yeah.
Are we ready at a supply level?
Okay.
And so that is where I believe then the opportunities are to say, what is it that I can provide? Which space can I play in so that when the demand comes, I'm ready? And so as Tourism KZN, we are on this whole journey around, while we are here on the during the lockdown, in terms of infrastructure and product improvement. We're helping quite a few black-owned companies in terms of concepts.
Yeah.
We have a unit called Tourism Development, where we do feasibility studies, we do detailed designs, business plans.
Yes.
We actually invest in the idea and make sure that the business is ready, is bankable, so that when we hand you over to funding institutions, and working, of course, with our development finance institutions in
Yes,
government,
yes.
they must be ready for you
Okay.
to be able to take your idea through
All right.
financially.
I'm glad you've touched on that, because now I think sometimes we think that people understand the role of entities, the different entities, and only to find that actually they do not. So I'm going to give you this opportunity, since you are our guest here today, to say, just briefly tell us, what is the role of tourism in KwaZulu-Natal?
Yes, so tourism in KwaZulu-Natal is mandated really to market the province as a tourism destination.
All right.
So we have various entities that have various roles. So,
Okay.
So when you look at destination promotion agencies,
Yes.
you have Tourism in KwaZulu-Natal
Yeah.
promoting tourism.
Yeah.
So attracting tourists, global tourists to come to KwaZulu-Natal.
Yeah.
Of course, impacting the economy,
Yeah.
growing the economy, creating jobs. You know, tourism is one of the sectors that are the fastest growing job creators. I mean,
Yes.
obviously talking pre-COVID times.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we live hand in hand with COVID, because I don't know if we can say post-COVID times.
Yeah,
Then we
yes.
have other entities. I'll touch a little bit just so that people have a picture. Then we have other entities like Trade and Investment KZN that promotes KwaZulu-Natal as a destination for investment and trade. And so, and then you have the KZN Film Commission that promotes KZN as a film destination.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, we are being matched with the Film Commission.
Okay.
And so we'll be a tourism and film promotion agency.
All right.
So we market the province.
Okay.
And very quickly, how do we do that? Of course, we've segmented. We have a domestic market, which
Yeah.
is South Africans
Yes,
as a whole,
yes.
to say, explore this beauty that is
Yes,
KZN.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
it is just the
Oh,
most
yeah, it's
beautiful
amazing.
province, you know. So we encourage people of KZN to explore their own province,
Yeah, very
to discover
important.
it. You know, it's
Yes.
good for the soul. It's
Yeah.
good, just
Yeah.
it's for growth and
Yes.
relaxation and mental health.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
is, and so we in that journey of promoting, it is important to also not just promote to those who afford, you know, the prime experiences in terms of
Luxurious, yes.
luxury and you
Yes.
know, going on, you know, your 5-star,
Yeah.
you know, wildlife experiences. We also promote to those who think tourism is not affordable, and we show them that actually it may be a day drive
Yeah.
to Hluhluwe
Oh, yeah.
Game Reserve,
Yeah, yeah.
and you just pay for entry to the park,
Yeah.
and you see the wildlife,
Yeah.
and you drive home.
Yeah.
You don't have to sleep over. I mean, the example I'm making, as KZN Wildlife, which is another entity
Yeah.
that is now promoting the conservation,
Yes.
the ecotourism.
Yeah.
They have amazing deals, really, where you can even sleep with your family for just one night
Yeah.
and experience the beauty. But
Yes.
at the end of the day, it's about experiences and connecting. So tourism, you shouldn't think about, oh, it's a 3-night stay. It is experiencing the destination on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Then we also promote, of course, internationally,
Yeah.
which is to bring international tourists into the
yes.
province. And so our key markets prior to the lockdown, Europe being the key, UK and Germany, France, Netherlands being our key markets, the Americas, Australasia, Asia, we've been making inroads. Interestingly, we were starting to, because the Chinese and Indian markets, in terms of big groups that travel into the province,
Yeah.
are very prime. But of course, just when we're tapping more into the Asian market, obviously COVID hit us.
Okay.
So we do the marketing side, but we do the development side as well.
All right.
Which was what I was talking about.
What you were talking
We
about,
help
yeah.
small businesses in tourism.
Yeah.
We train them how to start a tourism business.
Yeah.
We help them when they've started their tourism business to
Yeah.
understand what tourism is.
Yeah.
Because tourism isn't what people think it is.
This is what I'm saying. Can
It's
you
a
just
business.
take us through what you
People
guys
think
do?
it's travel, it's fun, you know,
Yeah.
they see us on social media, you know, with pictures, and they just think, oh, these people are always just having fun, having a party.
Yeah.
It is a business. It's an
Yeah.
economic driver. It's one of the key
An
economic
economic
drivers
driver.
in globally
Yeah.
and in the country and the
Yeah.
province.
Yeah.
And so we teach businesses to say, how do you then get into the tourism value chain and benefit from it and actually have viable, sustainable businesses? Because too often we find a person has a passion for tourism, they buy someone's home, they want to turn it to an B&B, they employ their family members, and so they think tourists will come. And so the family member, the frontline people don't know how to deal with guests, they don't know how to book, they don't know how to market, they just don't know how to run the business. The owner doesn't know how to run the business. And so, and then they cry out, but we are suffering. So it's important, I have to say this, those with the idea, research, reach out to Tourism KZN, depending which district you are in, there's various district tourism offices, Durban Tourism being the biggest, being the metro, and a whole lot. I mean, very active ones like Ugu and Elembe, and of course, you know, various other ones. Go to your local, because you may not be able to always come to Durban to Tourism KZN. You know, go to your local tourism office. Take time to understand the space you want to get in. And that's often the reason why you find we don't have much youth, because sometimes they come in and they think, oh, so much work that needs to be done before you actually can start seeing the results. And sometimes the interest is not there.
You have to do the work. Unfortunately,
you have to put in the work.
It's not cliche. I mean, you just have to put in the work. We are here today, still standing, because we put in the work every day.
Absolutely.
That's how it works. So now there's leisure tourism and business tourism. You have been talking, I think, slightly about leisure. Do you want to touch a little bit about business tourism as well?
Okay, before I get into business, just very quickly, I just to finish off on just the support. So we help you with training. We have an incubation program as well, where we bring in outside players, people who are already in the space, or rather the private sector, to actually give you practical training on how they've run their businesses. Then we have a 3-year incubation program. So when you are ready, we help you then define your markets based on your offering. And we actually take you in market. So let's say it's the European market. We'll go to tourism trade shows where the global tourism players meet. We have what we call tourism buyers. Just like in the retail sector, you have a buyer for the clothing, you know, Zara. You know? So these are buyers who buy on behalf.
They don't pay us, we don't know them.
I know, I don't want to promote them, I just, I'm wearing a Zara dress. Oh, actually, it's not. Anyway, back to the story. So the buyer, the buyers are people who come in and buy on behalf of the consumer. And so how international tourists consume tourism and how domestic tourists consume is different. A domestic tourist would say, based on the marketing and everything I've seen, I like to come to KZN. They'll probably go on our website or find other means, you know, through our social media spaces, or look, or just Google specials and book whichever. They go direct as a consumer. Internationals want to be guided by a tour operator, by a travel agent. So those are the ones we target. We don't talk directly to the consumer. We talk to trade to say, when you put together your seasonal itineraries to go anywhere globally, because we're competing with the rest of the world. Choose KZN. So we take the small companies with us to those tourism trade shows to sell to the buyers. So there's a whole lot of them. You know, World Travel Market in London, and so on and so forth. So research is very important. And then link yourself to the right networks. We have what we call also community tourism organizations, CTOs. Be a member. Join associations like SADS, ASAKI. There's a whole lot. Be linked in. You know, don't play in the periphery. Don't sit with your idea in your corner, because it's not going to work. Be with the people, ask them to take you by your hand and actually just walk the journey with them, both in government and trade. Because as government, we create an enabling environment for tourism to grow. The real players are the trade, the people who actually provide the service. Back to your question about business tourism. So the business tourism space is really a space then. So you have a leisure tourist who says, I want to go and explore KZN with my family or friends or by myself. Then you have a business traveler who would come to a destination for a conference. And so they would be there to attend perhaps, you know, a conference of the space. Let's say they are a health practitioner. So you'd find that health practitioners, there's a World AIDS Congress. And so they would go to a destination for the World AIDS Congress to find global solutions to the, you know, the challenges around you know, AIDS and AIDS related, and you know, share best practice and so on and so forth. But while they do that, they also then become leisure tourists, because then they explore the destination. So we promote staying prior or post. So pre and post, and obviously during, they are still defined as a tourist. So the business events space is called the MICE industry. And it stands for meetings, incentive groups, and really incentives is like when a company incentivizes their employees and they go away, conferences as well as exhibitions. So you see this, so it's a subsector of tourism, the MICE in the industry. And so it's a whole lot of opportunity that is not tapped into properly. And again, that's where I think women have an opportunity to play. We have a program we have a KZN Convention Bureau, which is a unit of tourism KZN, that's just focused on the MICE subsector.
Yeah.
And so we have an incubation program where we're helping event organizers to turn into professional conference organizers.
All right.
Because the MICE subsector is very strict around who plays in it, and the credentials and the accreditations. And so what we've found is that there's a gap. So as government, we've invested in having this convention bureau, in bringing events. We have incentives and we pay bid funds. And so it's big investment from government. But when it's time to take up opportunities, you find it's a small group of players who keep on getting those opportunities.
If at all.
If at all, Because
I'm talking about Africans now. I'm just being specific.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And women.
Yeah.
And so we are bridging that gap.
Okay.
In terms of helping with training, accreditation.
Yes.
But we absolutely also need curiosity, commitment,
From
innovation,
entrepreneurs,
and sometimes you don't get a lot of that. I mean, to just go slightly to leisure, for instance, we have an events committee of government because we believe that part of our recovery high up is bringing back events into the province, whether they leisure or business events, to really reignite tourism. I must say this. The kind of proposals, I'm an alternate chair of that committee at the level of the department. And of course, there are structures in terms of cabinet clusters that process the work.
Yes.
The kind of proposals we receive. Zoto. You just think, where's the innovation? Where's our people?
Asiko innovative.
Like Gautengers, I must say. People of Gauteng, they come with ideas fresh. And you're like, but why aren't
we
like that in KZN? I'm not saying KZN is not creative.
No,
I
hear you. But
if
you
look at the
comparatively speaking.
Yes, arts industry. I mean, we lead. I mean, we have the most amazing innovation. I'm not talking cross-sectorally that, I mean, all sectors that KZN doesn't have innovation. I can never say that. KZN is such a leader in so many ways.
Yes.
And I'm not saying in tourism. I'm saying in the spaces now that are part of the value chain of tourism. Events. I just made events as an example because you were asking me about business events.
All right, we've been talking for a long time. Let me just go on to our because we are live on Facebook.
Okay.
Just to check if we've got any comments or questions. Nondalo says God is good. Shine, Phindile, shine.
Thanks, Nondalo.
Maboye, indeed, our childhood life greatly impacts and shapes our adult life. Amen. We are always guided. That is Uspelele. Babu Chris Fire is just saying hello. Pumzile says, pulling together as women, we can achieve great things. That's so true. We know that. This is why we've got Woman Thrive as Econo Thrive Global, because we understand and appreciate the power of women pulling together. All right. And Maboy again is saying our culture and heritage is a key asset in the tourism space. What is government doing to support rural tourism ey'ndaweni zasemakhaya? Mbuzo ke lo.
Yes. So we, quite a lot actually. So with rural tourism, what has been the biggest challenge has been the product offering.
Okay.
In terms, so of course, the destination has natural beauty, beautiful landscapes. We just really are blessed. We endowed with the really, really natural beauty.
Yes.
But a tourist, of course, in appreciating that beauty, there has to be product offering that just makes the holistic tourist experience, that much more, impactful. Remember that a tourist is looking globally where to travel.
Yes, yeah.
So
yeah, I know, because I've been to international shows, and I look at this and I'm like, my goodness, this is such a huge thing for us as a province to be able to pull these people to our province, you know, whether it's leisure or I've been to mostly business tourism, you know, shows, and I'm like, there's a lot of work that has to go through. I mean, like, then you have a chat, sorry to actually divert, but you have a chat, just a random chat with someone from a different country, and they're like, what? KwaZulu-Natal? And like, you have to now start from scratch, and then Durban, and you're like, okay, yeah, no, this, so it's not just KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, it's also South Africa, it's also the continent, you know, so it's actually, it's a big investment that you have to do, I think, as an entity to try and ensure that we get visitors, both for leisure and obviously conferences on the business side. But coming back to the rural tourism.
So back to rural tourism, what as government then we've been doing is investing in infrastructure projects. So the department that we are under, which is Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, has a lot of programs where we are assisting communities to actually put up community-based products. So lodges, we've built lodges. When I say built, obviously driven by government, because really tourism KZN doesn't get into the bricks and mortar part so much of the work. But of course then we benefit in terms of being ready to market the products that have been developed. So we have been working at a number of products over the years really, and really more so now with more projects in the pipeline. I must though indicate that there's a greater need, which is how then trade and investment comes in.
Okay.
There's a greater need to promote investment by investors, because there's so much government can do really with the limited resources. We can't we can't have a mushrooming of tourism infrastructure that is government. In fact, we're moving more towards the commercialization process. So Isabella, for instance, owns facilities and is exploring a commercialization route of saying, with the landlord, you are the operator. Because ultimately it's about economic growth. So we have to say what works more. So if Azemvelo in their list of things that they need to do for the year, and they look at a budget that keeps being cut every year because of the economic reality we're in, they may not necessarily be able to upgrade their products to a 5-star level, where if you're talking about a wildlife experience, because it's back to the question of rural tourism. These are rural setups where the communities must benefit. But you find that if they can't upgrade their products, then they become tired products. You know, they would become tired products. Okay. And so when you compare to a tourist who says, I want an African wildlife experience, I want to do safari. I can go to Kenya. I can go to South Africa. Botswana. The list goes on. So why should they come to KZN? You promise the experience, but you promise a prime infrastructure, you know, the enabling environment, the product. The product must match what you offer naturally in terms of the landscape. And so that's where government is now going two-pronged. One is investing through funding of government, which is limited, but more aggressively we're going for investment promotion. That's why it's important to have a stable destination where there are no unrests, where people are not destroying, where people understand the value of tourism, where they embrace tourism, where there is no crime against tourists, where there's no grime, where people actually clean up and they are proud of their environment. It's hygienic, it's beautiful. It's all mixed together.
All these things coming together.
And talking about investment, we have an exciting project. We've helped Ismangaliso Wetland Authority with a master plan. Where really we approach them as Tourism KZN based on input we received from tour operators, global tour operators, to say, such a beauty, you know, the whole Ismangaliso area. So your St. Lucia area, so Duana Bay, Kosipe, you know, beauty, but sleeping beauty from a product point of view. Amazing, but offering tired. And we said, we have this, so it makes it difficult for them to package to their markets, because when they compare,
it's not meeting the standard.
It's not meeting the standard. So we help them with a master plan. So they have this commercialization program where they have parcels of land that will be opened up to investors. And that's a process. So we are working behind the scenes, so to speak, when I say behind the scenes, in terms of, as we're in lockdown, focused on encouraging people to travel, but making sure that the environment is enabling.
Yes.
I mean, in Durban right now, the cruise terminal is about to be completed, and cruise tourism is huge.
Yeah.
So infrastructurally, government is definitely putting in the money, but tourism can only thrive when it's a combination of partnership, where private sector comes into the party, invests. And so I'd encourage people also, there's the Tourism Equity Fund, of course, right now, it's a court process, it's been put on hold. Find out about funding that's available to help you. The National Department of Tourism also helps a lot in rural tourism product investment through their own infrastructure fund that helps rural communities access it. So it's a matter of knowing.
It's just knowing how to access the information and then just go for it. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. I hope uphendulekile lapha ya. Usis Notawe is saying, so proud of you, Siswami. You are doing a great job. I was saying to Mapindi, now is this sort of, this platform is such an enabler. Shine. And then there's a question from Opumzile. How can the tourism curriculum promote innovative entrepreneurs than people who complete their diplomas and think of becoming waiters? Okay, this is a big one. Of course, it's more on the education side, but I think, I think the point here is that they should be trained to become entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Not the other way.
Yes. Instead of saying, okay, how do you come in as a chef?
Yes.
I absolutely agree, Zodo. I absolutely agree. And I think perhaps, without shooting myself here too much, as government, it is an area we need to sharpen. It is. Because it goes beyond tourism. And I just say government, it's also we have to be mindful that solutions are not always government-based. You have to be mindful of that as well. That is also private sector coming into the party. But let's talk about role of government, because I work for government. I do think, because the whole story I've told you about around how we help with feasibility studies and so on, at the heart of it, the reason, people, black-owned businesses in particular, struggle so much, it's just the basics of business that they struggle with. So if the KZN Growth Fund, for instance, says we have, or rather Premier's office, we have an Operation Vula Fund that the Department of Economic Development, so Economic Development, Premier's office, but the implementer is the Growth Fund. We have Operation Vula Fund for youth. And people there's a gap between the offering in terms of the opportunity of the fund and the take-up in terms of whether they're ready to take up this fund or any other fund for that matter. So it goes back to this question to say, are we developing entrepreneurs or we're just developing people who just play as, waiters? Chef, you can be an amazing chef. So, I mean, I think it's just an example of saying, your back-end people as opposed to being the actual business owners. So my answer to that, I don't think enough is being done. And I really do think that we have an economic recovery plan for the province in terms of, post-COVID or living with COVID. How would we want to shape KZN? I sit on numerous structures, including the economic cluster, economic and infrastructure development cluster of the provincial cabinet. And so these inputs are some of the things, we can sharpen more in terms of just that push more. Yes, of course, there are causes here and there. There's interventions in terms of incubation, but you can only incubate so much. So it's about how do you take it into the curriculum. I agree. How does it get infused to kids in the, especially public education system? But it's another story with private. That's so education.
True. That's so true. But I mean, I think I appreciate the answer, but I think I have to say that also individuals must want it. Last week we held a seminar which was just Men's Month offering from Econo Foundation. And as we were talking about a space of entrepreneurship, we had one of the business people, Baba Umlu Man, talking about how do they then, trying to come back to that space after having lost a job, then trying to be an entrepreneur. And he made a very interesting example of to say that where he is coming from, like during our times, things, all these enabling programs, they were not there. I just was like, this is it. I'm starting Kwikhono Communications, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But there was no one who was there with the fund and all these things that are available now. And we've been able to make it one or the other, and we've survived, And his point, though, was that a 30-year-old now who wants to start something has got a whole lot of programs that are supporting them, as opposed to me when I was starting back then and him at the time. So there is just something that I think we need to be honest when we talk about it, about the youth of today wanting to be successful.
So right.
Wanting to do it, because lendo yama handouts is hambe skin, at some point when people do not have it within them to want to succeed. You must want it badly.
Absolutely. And the culture, Zodwa, as you say this, and I'm just thinking and reflecting, and I suppose we reflect, all the time on these things. We can't shy away from the fact that there's a culture that has been created of wanting quick fixes.
Oh, yeah.
The culture of, materialism that is so bad within our youth. Where people feel, oh, well, but he didn't go through those steps. Why should I? That is not based on the fire, the passion, the commitment, a vision for the future one to create, and the generational wealth you'd like to create in a world now where that is possible, which growing up, he went to varsity, came back, and you dealt with a lot of black tax. We deal with a lot of black tax.
We still do.
We still do. But we shouldn't be having the kind of youth that are just about surviving the next paycheck. But again, societally, and I suppose, I don't know, I'm not sitting here with a particular solution, but more a conversation that has to be much more frank around how did we get here? Dialogues. I mean, I know Babu Fire who just said, hey, he's got, the men's dialogue. Are we having, he has done absolutely amazing things. Are we having, enough of those conversations as we mentor youth? Because that culture is killing us.
Yeah, no, it is, definitely.
That culture is killing us. And the narrative, Zodwa, is so bad, it's so bad how, that direction is going, because it's not just about the young man who sees another young man who happens to know someone who gave them a bag of money, and now suddenly they have millions in the bank that they never sweated for, And you find these kids, sometimes, I mean, I've had the pleasure, because of my work, of course, the honor of, global travel. Sometimes you'd be sitting on the plane, and these kids are rowdy, drinking champagne all night, being rude, doing all sorts of things. Because, no, I'm going somewhere with it.
Yes.
Because, the steps weren't taken. It's just these quick fixes, I'm getting things because I know who. And then you have a whole lot of youth who want that, who actually think that's the way to go. But you also have a society where the narrative among the African market, I'll call it African market, when people are in the commercial space of trying to get from us, where the dramas we have on TV right now, it's about who bewitches who. Who, like, seriously, think about where the narrative is going, where Africans are sitting watching TV. What is the narrative, Zodwa?
Yeah, I hear you.
And then the question is, what's going on?
Yes.
Are we even aware? Are we even?
Yes.
Are we even linked to what the future that's being shaped for the African child is?
Yeah.
I've just taken a little example.
Yes.
But TV.
Yeah.
And the direction it goes. And it's linked to what happens in society. People.
Oh yeah.
The list is endless.
The list is endless.
So all I'm saying there is, we do also need the youth who go back to basics. And not this culture of give me.
Yes,
I want to take.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I think also, but on the side of government, also we do need honesty, whereby it's not things for friends and cronies. I mean, like, we suffer a lot. I know sometimes it sounds crazy. People think, she's just saying it, but we still have situations whereby we're not getting access and help, and you just worrying because we know that the proposal is the proposal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but that's a story for another day. I think we need to wrap up now. So, as coming back to you now, wrapping up, what is just briefly the way forward for tourism, KZN? I don't know, like you were saying, we don't know if it's gonna be post-COVID, like next year. We're not sure, but where are we going as tourism, KZN?
Okay, maybe just in terms of the tourism space, Zodwa. So the United Nations World Tourism Organization, in terms of their projections, global tourism recovery, they are projecting between 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Of real global tourism recovery.
Yes.
I'm just giving you that picture so that those entering the space and passionate about tourism, already in it or about to enter it, understand that our journey into full recovery is going to be a long one.
Yeah.
And so as government, we are very committed to making sure that that journey of recovery, we do everything in our power to impact it positively, that the gains that had been made are not lost. So we do have a tourism recovery relief fund that we had a first phase, and we're about to launch a second phase of it. Just really to help businesses stay afloat, those that obviously have been in the tourism space. We are working very, very closely with tourism trade partners in making sure that we recover together. We've got some amazing travel deals that we keep marketing. We have specials that we've been marketing really since lockdown. So when we went into hard lockdown level 5, we ran this campaign of "We will see you soon."
Okay.
To keep people excited that when things open up, we first stop is KZN. And so that campaign, of course, has taken different shapes as things open up. But at the heart of it is collaboration with tourism trade to make travel affordable. Of course, we've had the unrest, very unfortunate unrest. And so we have a campaign now which is really showing South Africans that it's safe to travel back to KZN. We're preparing ourselves for Tourism Month in September. So we have exciting things lined up. And of course, we have our big festive season, which is always big for KZN. And of course, again, we're going into a festive season which is mindful about where we will be with our vaccination program. There's talk of another 4th wave, and hoping we don't get there. So how we do day-to-day operations, we're not sitting with, we have an annual performance plan. This is the target we set for ourselves. We're sticking to target, like robots. We really are. It's a fluid situation, environment. We are changing with the times. We're responding to tourist needs, and we really are wanting people to keep on exploring this beautiful place.
Yeah, of course. Our tourism products are so amazing. Just as you were saying, it's not just what we offer, it's just the scenery. It's beautiful. Let me go back to our Facebook page just to get a few comments before we sivalelise lapha usisi Lwandlekazi Swazi. Thank you for such a beautiful and insight conversation. Corner Thrive Global. Beautiful, my squeezer. That's me. And to say government strategy going forward is to bridge the gap between investing in creating platforms and in breeding up entrepreneurs to take up that space. All right. MICE is a huge opportunity and a vehicle to transform tourism. It needs more entrepreneurs to play in that space that usisi uLwandlekazi lapha Mqedlane who was making that comment. All right. Sis Phindile sesiyagoqa 3 things that you would like to ukuba mhlambe ukhuthaze, especially young women who are looking at you and saying, I want to be in that space and position at some point in my future. What are the 3 things ongathi nje kubalekile ukuthi bayiqaphele in their journey?
I think the first thing is really just sharpen your purpose.
Okay.
Sharpen it, understand it,
Yeah.
and work towards it. Commit
right.
to it. Show
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And showing up has a whole lot of things involved.
Yeah.
It is about respecting time, respecting time. And so if you say, Zodwa, I need you to assist me with my business, respect that this is Zodwa's time, that she should have been doing something else that she's giving to you. Respect it and utilize it
Yeah.
optimally.
Yeah.
So respect time.
Time. Yeah.
And really respect is really an underlying, just show up with respect.
Yeah.
And a hunger to learn.
Yeah.
You can never get to a point where you say, I've learned enough.
Oh, yes.
I'm still learning. So
Yeah.
learn, surround yourself with people from whom you can learn.
Yeah.
One thing I wish I'd done earlier in my career
Yes.
was to actually know where to tap into and how to network better. And I've learned it as I went along with my career, but surround yourself with people you can learn. And surrounding yourself, this doesn't mean just only in your workspace. Privately, just bring people in your space who are about your growth, and don't be afraid to shed those who are not part of that journey. Shed them. We evolve as people, shed them.
Yes.
They're not part of the journey. So surround yourself. Networking is so important.
Yes, that's correct.
Collaborations are so important.
Yeah.
You know what I find really amazing with the young people who approach me?
Yeah.
Is where they say, Sis Phindile, I just want to learn this. This is tricky for me. Just help me out. There's nothing wrong. Pride and arrogance is the one thing that can hold you back.
Yeah, correct.
Don't be proud.
That's
Don't want
correct.
to say, oh, well, you know what, I'm good. I've arrived, or, oh, well, I don't want to seem like I don't know enough. Learn. Say where you're struggling. Say where you think you could be assisted more. That's very, very, very important to keep on learning. And yes, and just really stay focused.
Yeah.
Stay focused on your journey, and really just stay at it, commit to it, and really just grow.
All
really
right.
grow.
All right. Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. It's important who is around you. You need to have a focus, and you mustn't be proud. Ingane engakhali ifele embelekweni. So iBhayibheli lithi uma ungqongqozo uzovulelwa mangabe ufuna uzothola. So we need to be mindful of those things. As Mrs. Phindile is advising young people this morning, we really appreciate your time, and I wish sometimes we could have more time to chat about women that that are making us proud, not only in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, it's obviously the continent, and globally as well, because tourism is a global space as it were. Utholakala uSis Phindile kanjalo neKwaZulu-Natal Tourism social media handles?
Oh yes. So Tourism KZN, we are, well, physically, although there's not much physical movement right now, but physically we are located at the Tyler Trade Center,
Okay.
which is at Durban Waterfront, just next to where the new cruise terminal will be, and next to Shaka Marine World.
Yes.
We are on all social media platforms. Maybe just to start with our website, it's because that's where you'll get more information, even on research papers.
Yes.
When you really just need to understand tourism more, because the others are more marketing, and it's a knowledge center, our website, which is www.zulu. Zulu, by the way, stands for the Zulu Kingdom, which is our brand identity, based on the fact that there was this fascination with King Shaka from, our international markets. I just thought I'll explain that.
Okay.
.zulu.org.za. So www.zulu.org.za.
Yeah.
We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram as well. Tourism. Just Google Tourism KZN. I don't remember all the hashtags. I've got a whole market.
Yes, I know. And
So I may not remember all the handles.
when utholakala phi wena ke manje, because the spotlight is on you.
Oh my goodness. Well,
You call that Facebook?
Gikhona Facebook.
Okay.
But
Call that Instagram?
Yes.
You call that
They are
Twitter?
closed accounts.
All right, there's absolutely nothing
you
wrong
can
with that. I
find
think
me. You
what's
can
important
request.
is that uyatholakala lapho kodwa mabefuna information about tourism KwaZulu-Natal akhona ama-handles as you've just mentioned them. Siyabonga kakhulu for your time. We really appreciate
Thank
ukuthi
you.
usivakashele namhlanje kwi-Women Thrive series, which we haven't had for a while. We are back with our Women Thrive series. Of course, this is Women's Month, so kubalulekile ukuthi qhakambise abesifazane abenza kahle emphakathini emabhizinisini abo lapho besebenza khona and in all the different sectors. Thank you so much again Sis Phindile for your time, and we are looking forward to ukubona ukuthi bakuphatheleni abakuphathele ophethe into zonke ukuthi ukuphatheleni in your future, but it sounds like it's going to be exciting. Igama lami ngeuzodwa Msimangi Kansibande, ngingasho nje ukuthi on Monday, this coming Monday, Women's Day, we have a Women's Day special as a Thriving in Abundance talk. Laso besikhuluma khona ngama principles of the kingdom economy. The principles of the kingdom economy. Yeah, this is the time. We can never have a total liberation uma sine political freedom kuphela. Kuyafuneka ukuba kube khona ne-economic freedom as well, so that we can be able to be totally liberated. So please do tune in on Monday for our Women's Day special. Lapho sizobe sikhona ama-guests ethu usisi uLindiwe Khwele kanjalo nosisi Amanda Mhlongo on Thriving in Abundance talk on Monday. That's our Women's Day special. Thank you to the team. Ubusi Shabalala, who is our producer, Umaboyi no Busi Kumalo, who are on our technical side today, as well as Angel Mkiza on the hospitality. God bless women of Africa. Thank you.